Namaskar. Hello, friends. We will continue talking about mind and wrap it up today. Cause effect association is just a habit of conditioned mind. Our mind is a very interesting entity. It is subjected to continuous conditioning right from the time we are born till we breathe our last. As a result of all this unending conditioning, our mind keeps creating and modifying patterns of cause effect relationships. It basically associates something that happened or was done by us in the past with something that happens later on the time scale. This is the cause effect relationship that our mind conjures up, and that is what becomes the basis of our future actions when we seem to be in a similar situation. For simplicity, I am combining mind and intelligence and loosely calling them mind. This kind of an exercise gives us a reliable cause effect relationship only in the most trivial situations. For example, if I take the action of grabbing a book lying on the table, lifting it, and putting it inside the bookcase, the effect is that the book has moved from the table into the bookcase. That is a very direct and trivial case of cause effect relationship. However, when it comes to more complex situations, and of course, most of the situations in life are indeed much more complex, these cause effect patterns are more or less only a statistical exercise that merely gives us a probability of this so called effect happening when the so called cause happens. And as we know, probability does not mean certainty. For example, the probability of getting heads upon tossing a coin is 50%. But that does not mean anything when it comes to what we will actually get when we toss a coin the next time. So, for example, when I say that if I complete this project in time, I will get a promotion, I am probably being guided by someone else in the office having got a promotion when he completed his project in time. But that's no guarantee that the same thing will happen in my case. The reason is that there are many invisible factors operating in most situations, and the complex interplay of those factors is almost impossible to grasp and, and put into a mathematical equation. For example, maybe the boss is nursing some grudge against me from the past that I may have forgotten, and that may prevent me from getting the promotion. Many bosses do maintain a black diary, and I haven't even talked about the aspect of who is the I that we think is doing something to get some effect. The I is itself a complex bundle, somewhat artificially and superficially defined as consisting of our body and our thinking mind. However, that I itself is a complex interplay of a trillion microprocesses at the bodily and mental level. So, when I say I am working hard on this project, I do not quite understand who exactly is doing it, how, and who are the others contributing directly or indirectly to my working hard. For example, my wife is tolerating my working till late hours and even my bringing work home. If she were to throw tantrums, maybe I wouldn't be able to work as hard. So, the supportive wife is very much a part of that I that is working hard. I do not also know why something else is not being done. For example, I could as well get a promotion if I please my boss. All in all, the point I'm trying to make is we have to take with a pinch of salt the conditioned patterns of cause effect relationship that our mind makes. Of course, if we have an objective to achieve, we must and we will go by the pattern at our conscious level because there is nothing else for us to go by, at least so long as our consciousness is on the worldly plane. If and when our consciousness merges with the superconsciousness, our actions will be guided by a wholly different mechanism. If a child thinks too much, it will never be able to stand. Imagine a child just about 1 year old who is still not able to stand up on its feet. This child could think about its future and could well believe that she won't be able to walk. Although she may be seeing adults walking, she could think that they are so big and she is so small. She cannot even stand up. Then how can she hope to walk? Although her parents may tell her that she will grow up naturally and will definitely be able to stand, walk, and run, still she could harbor all kinds of doubts and refuse to believe them. Fortunately, children at the age of 1 year hardly think and certainly do not think along the lines as above. But we know that the child grows in a natural way and develops the ability to stand up, walk, and run over a period of time. Of course, the child is prompted by its own biological nature to keep trying. Though she keeps falling often in the beginning, ultimately she succeeds. During this growing up phase, she also gets help from her family members who encourage her, give her support, leave her without support off and on, letting her fall and then rise again. But when it comes to us human beings in the context of spiritual progress, we unnecessarily think too much, like the imaginary child described in the described above. Hence, we tend to peep too far into the future and harbor all kinds of doubts about the chances of attaining the spiritual goals. We ask all kinds of questions based on our conditioned thinking and generally find it very difficult to accept spirituality as a worthwhile pursuit. We do have help available from scriptures and other spiritual literature, as also affirmations by those who have attained and experienced the spiritual goals. But our thinking mind remains in disbelief. That is the reason why we find it impossible to accept that desires can be controlled, that detachment can be established, that ego can be overcome, that bodily identity can be discarded, that living in the moment is possible, etc. Only a few who are under the divine grace get the gift of faith from the divine. Such seekers proceed with perseverance on the spiritual path, harboring no doubts and questions. They are the ones who are bound to eventually attain the spiritual goal. Thoughtless state. Most people believe that the objective of meditation is to achieve a thoughtless state. So, different people come up with different techniques to remove thoughts from the mind, even by force if necessary. Such techniques may enable the meditator to achieve a thoughtless state for a short time period. But what real good does it do to the seeker? In fact, most people try very hard, but they are frustrated that the thoughts simply do not cease. Let us understand first the origin of thoughts. Our mind is tasked with working towards fulfilling the desires of our body and ego. So it keeps churning within itself the past events to analyze what was done right and what wasn't. It also keeps imagining the future to see how desires yet unfulfilled can be fulfilled. In the process, the mind also projects future scenarios, some of which are negative and cause anxiety or fear. This churning is the thoughts. Trying to suppress thoughts is a futile exercise. Can you imagine killing a plant by simply cutting its leaves? Since roots are intact, the plant lives on and bears new leaves soon enough. Likewise, suppressing thoughts may at the most achieve only a momentary thoughtless state. But since the root of thoughts, namely desires, still exist, new thoughts sprout soon enough. I think most sincere spiritual seekers should have no problem in agreeing that mukti or liberation should be the real spiritual goal. And liberation is freedom from attachment to this physical world and the attendant desires and undesires relating to the limited physical bodily identity that we have. If so, just a thoughtless state achieved with effort for a short duration cannot by itself achieve anything significant towards attaining the ultimate spiritual goal of liberation. Even if we manage to suppress thoughts for a while, they will spring back sooner than later. Thoughts will automatically start reducing if and when our desires and fears start reducing. That is the only way because desires and fears are like the input data to a software program. If a program is not fed any input, it will not execute. Similarly, if there are no desires and fears, the mind program will essentially idle as if waiting for the input which never comes. That will automatically mean there are no thoughts. The mind will become a mere witness without judging or labeling whatever happens around and without desiring to acquire one thing or get rid of another. Thus, we can understand that a thoughtless state of mind is only a byproduct, a natural side benefit of the state of vairagya, that is, detachment. Imagine a person watching a movie and getting entangled with the way the story on the screen progresses. However, the story is already written and enacted and filmed. It may sometimes meet the watcher's expectations, and at other times it may not. But the involved watcher forms her own ideas and expectations as to how the story should unfold further and keeps experiencing mental ups and downs. On the other hand, a person who is not entangled in the screen story simply watches whatever is happening on the screen. He has no expectations from the story, and hence he does not feel any mental ups and downs as the story unfolds. Even in our normal day to day life, we need to be an unattached witness of the story of life. Only then can we be permanently in a thoughtless state. I will end up this discussion about mind with a very smart quotable quote by Homer Simpson. What is mind? No matter. What is matter? Never mind. I'll stop here. I'll meet you next time. Until then, bye.